Today I have for you what Lumintop claims is the smallest laser flashlight, or LEP, on the market. It runs on a 14500 battery and is in a familiar form factor. Thanks to Lumintop for sending this to me to take a look at and share with you. Not a lot to share on the packaging or accessories standpoint here. Here is the Lumintop box that you're used to. It's just foam on the inside, and on the back it tells you what it's made out of. They've got aluminum, copper, brass, polished titanium, sandblasted, or stonewashed titanium. As far as I know, it's only an aluminum right now, but they evidently plan to offer those other materials in the future. The only accessory you get with the light is the manual here. Not much to say there. My light came with an optional 14500 band battery that I will insert there. It does have USB-C charging on it, which is kind of convenient, and it came with the clip pre-installed. That's it. You probably recognize the shape of the Lumintop Ant-Man here. I've got an old school tool in copper, and you can see it's got a lot of similar design characteristics of the tool line. They do make the tool in AA, but I don't have one to show you. Machining here is good. Anodizing is great. All the corners are nicely broken, and it's got some texture where you need it. It's not a real big light, so it's doesn't have to be very aggressive here. The tail cap does feature a semi-transparent button in there with a LED that helps you locate the light. You won't be able to see it on my video lights. As a result, it doesn't stand up on its own because that button's proud. Threads here are all real nice. They're all coated. This is a clip that holds on with the tail cap, so I'd recommend going through the front of the light when you need to access it. You do have your contact there. It is solid. On the back, you've got a pretty stout spring, as you can see there. While we're in here, this is the battery that mine came with, Lumintop branded 920 milliamp hour USB-C. Got charging indicators there in the front like you'd expect. Nice battery. Threads are square cut, which I like to see. The body has a little bit of traditional diamond knurling on it. It's pretty smooth, not very aggressive. Up at the front here, you've got this anti-roll ring, 6-sided along the edges, kind of acting as a heat sink. This light doesn't draw much power, so it doesn't really need much of a heat sink either. Up at the very front, you've got the lens there. It is a double reflective coated glass, and you've got that glow ring in there. Mine happens to be blue in color. Retention, the light ships with the standard Lumintop dual direction clip there. As you can see, it's not a deep carry design, which is what I prefer, but it's what Lumintop's used to doing on these smaller lights. You can attach it to the bill of a hat, and it also is pre-drilled for a lanyard, which doesn't come with the light. Not much to say here other than that. I measured the length at 100 millimeters, head diameter at 22, body tube at 19 millimeters. I measured the weight with the Lumintop battery and clip at 85 grams or 3 ounces. And the light is IPX8 water rated. For comparison, here is your Lumintop Thor, also a LEP light. This one runs off an 18350, so you can see the size difference there. The Ant-Man is quite a bit smaller. And here is a Through Night Catapult Mini. More on this light and the comparison later on in the review, but you can see it is shorter in lengthwise. It's LED based, but the head is quite a bit bigger than what the Ant-Man is. So the emitter and beam, the Ant-Man is using LEP, or laser excited phosphor technology, and the result is a very throwy beam with no spill. I have explained this technology in some of my other videos if you're curious to learn more about it. And the beam here, it is very focused, but it isn't quite as focused as what I've seen on other lights. It's maybe a little bit fuzzy at shorter distances. Hard to tell that on my video lights here, but we'll take a look at that in the night shots in a minute. The tint here is very cool white. It's hard to measure with because it is so intense. It just didn't read on it. There is no flicker here since this is a direct drive light. Official stats have this light making 165 lumens and 87,000 candela. I don't think mine's probably producing that much with a full battery. I don't have a calibrated setup that I trust to measure LEP lights right now and really give scientific data, but my night shots show what my eyes do decently, and when I compare it to things that should be similar on paper, I think you'll see why. Okay, here are my night shots for the Lumintop Ant-Man. This is running that LEP module, so laser emitting phosphorus, and we can see its beam profile here is really small, really focused, really no spill. 165 lumens, but it's really the candela that tells the story here. 87,052 candela here, and we can see it reaches the school. It's a little hard to pick up on camera. It's not the brightest out there. LEPs just have a hard time on camera anyways. 570 lumens. I can see it on the building with my naked eye, but it's not like a traditional LED flashlight. It also spreads out pretty good there. I'd say it's car size at the distance. In comparison, here is the Through Night Catapult Mini. This is in turbo, 680 lumens, OSRAM LED, 89 1,000 candela and 598 meters of throw. So very, very similar numbers to the Lumintop Ant-Man. You can see it's got a lot more spill to it and a bigger hot spot, but that results in a little bit better performance throwing, in my opinion, here. And it's a much cheaper light, but you do lose some pocket ability here. The head on this light is larger. So here is the Ant-Man again, and here is the Thor. Camera emphasizes that maybe a little bit unfairly here. You can see the catapult is brighter with a larger hot spot. That's down to those lumens. You can see from my night shots that performance here isn't quite what I expected. When I compared it to that Through Night Catapult Mini, on paper it's pretty close, while different technologies, the Ant-Man doesn't seem to come close to what it's rated for. So let's take a look at heat and runtime here. I did my runtime test with that optional battery that Lumintop sent, 920 milliamp hour button top battery. Flat top and button top batteries work here, but longer protected cells aren't recommended. You don't need a high drain battery either, because of the high current draw is pretty minimal at only 1 amp. Some other reviewers reported problems with parasitic drain and problems with the battery just discharging on its own. I didn't have that problem. I put a battery in here fully charged and left it for a week and had no noticeable difference in the battery voltage after that. The driver here is direct, and it appears and that's pretty apparent in my runtime graphs here. It's a very linear decline in its relative output from the beginning to the end, and it's able to hold near 100% output for just about 10 minutes before declining. That's pretty good. During most LED lights, pretty much all LED lights won't do that on their high or turbo settings. During this time, the hottest temp I saw was 35C, and total output here is 42 minutes on the supplied 920 milliamp hour battery. One thing to note here is there's no low voltage protection here, and the light will stop operating around 1.1 volts. So make sure you charge this thing after about 40 minutes of use, and be careful with your unprotected batteries. UI here can't be simpler. It's a forward clicky button, and there's one mode. This is it. I just turned it on, and that's it. You can run it in momentary just by kind of half pressing the light. You can create your own strobe or whatever, but there's no special modes, there's no turbo, there's no low. One mode, that's all you get. The Ant-Man is an interesting light. It's quite small and in a familiar form factor, we know. However, in my experience, its performance leaves something to be desired. While it does throw reasonably far distance with a fairly focused beam, it's not quite at the level I expect based on other LEP lights that I own, especially ones from Lumintop. I feel like my night shots do a good job of showing that in the video. I paired it up next to my Through Night Catapult Mini, which is a similar size, but with a larger head, and the performance of the two are very, very similar on paper, but not so much in the real world. For the Ant-Man, you're putting your size and form factor above performance and all other variables. I don't normally talk about pricing with my reviews because it varies so much on where you are in the world, where you buy it, what promotions are ongoing, etc. But on this review, I've got to mention it. LEP lights are not inexpensive, but typically their throw performance is just unmatched. However, on the Ant-Man, the performance isn't quite there. There are lights that are LED based that are of a similar size but offer the same or more performance for half the cost. I do hope that Lumintop continues to develop the small form factor of LEP based lights so that performance comes up to what we come to expect from LEP lights and the price decreases. I think this will happen with time. Right now, I would have strong reservations on recommending the Ant-Man. It's remarkable in terms of its size and technology, but its performance lags my expectations in this case. As always, I appreciate you guys watching these reviews. Let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure you like, subscribe, so you'll be sure to catch the next video soon. Thanks for watching.